Hey folks, Luger holster. I know I've got a lot of these on my channel. This one's pretty simple, just a strap. The rest of the holster is in pretty good shape. So we're just going to replace this strap, send it back to the customer. So I'm going to put you down on the bench and show you what I'm doing. Hopefully that will be sharp enough. I'm going to very carefully get in here. Mostly what happens underneath the strap itself doesn't matter, but we try not to wreck anything. So just kind of most of these are just, the pieces are stitched down, they're not glued or anything. So I'm going to zoom in here and try to let you see it as much as I can. Try to get that in camera as well as I can. And just pull up on it and it'll kind of, the threads are usually, most of the time on these straps, these threads wrap over, but they're usually broken, and the ones up here are usually broken. This one was. So we try to just, you can lift up on it a little bit and just kind of get in there. Now this last one loops over. I'm just going to try to get under it and pop it off. I'll save this piece because the holes are in the right places for this holster. So I'm going to punch those holes using this piece, so don't lose it. After that, we just see all our thread here, so we need to pick it out. If you go from the back side, I'm just using a simple small awl. Because all the threads are cut, they should come out pretty easily. Well, sometimes you'll see it's still, here's still a piece that's there. You can sometimes push them through, which fell right out. So we don't want to remake the wheel when we do something like this. We want to remake that piece. And that's all. So now I'll go up here, and there's still a couple of little pieces. And you can just kind of push them through from the top side and then pull them out. So I'm just poking through, not even poking all the way through, just enough to push that thread out. Now this holster shows really well. The holes that they used are just really similar. Let's see if I got. This is just a 4mm punch. And that's, whoa, let's get you back here. So this shows them that they're just a regular diamond stitch hole. And they're pretty much on a 4mm spacing. This is a 4mm punch. The tines are actually 2mm, I believe. But it's been a good punch. I use a lot. But they fit right in the hole. Line up. They're perfect. So, and I think I showed that on one of my other videos. This is pretty much where you're at with these Luger holsters. A lot of them are this spacing. So we can duplicate those holes on this piece just by using, on the strap piece, just by using the proper punch. Works out pretty well. I'll be using this to mark the new piece of leather, which is just a piece of edge tan. This is an end cut from a belt liner. So we need to take a few measurements. We need to know the thickness of our leather, and we need to get a proper leather thickness. So I believe I checked here, and we're at about 2mm for our thickness, because this leather is going to be the same as what the strap is made out of, and that's what I want to stick to. I need two. Looks like I got just a little shy of 2mm here. About 1.8. What's this piece here? Oh, there we go. There we go. So I've got a scrap here. This is plenty to make a couple of straps if I need to. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to, this looks like it's probably a medium brown. And that is what I'm going to try for dye first. Is a medium brown. I'll clean the dirt off of here so there's no dirt under it and such. And then we'll cut this out. So I have the one that I'm going to use, and I have two cut out that are not ones that I'm going to use. Most of these are rounded, so I'm just going to bevel them. I'm not going to burnish them, because in 1936 they wouldn't have burnished them. So I'm going to dye, these two are just sample pieces that I'm going to try to match my color to. And hopefully that goes pretty well. I'm going to try, I thought I had a light brown, but I don't. I have a tan. And maybe we'll do one of each. I have a feeling this is going to actually be pretty much what I'm looking for. Yep. I'm going to make sure you get the edges. So this one's looking a little darker, which is fine, but we'll see. Once they'll lighten up as I let them dry overnight. They will lighten up a little bit. This one I think might be a little too light, at least down the center. So I'm just putting a little down the center of it, not getting carried away with either of them. But let's let them dry overnight. We'll see how they look. Whew, chilly out here again today. It got to 9 degrees above zero today. and it's going down in the tank again. Just think, yesterday it got up to 19. It was a beautiful day, as long as you stayed out of the wind. Not to mention we have a wind chill on top of the temperature, so it's kind of chilly out. I think this color is going to work out just fine up against here once we get some finish on it, because this has got a finish on it. This has got like a Resolene on it. So I'm going to go ahead and put some Resolene on this after I get all the holes and stuff done, and I think we'll be in good shape. So off we go. I'm going to use the existing piece that I took off to line up my stitch holes, and I'm just going to do that by laying it on top here, keeping everything as close as I can to where I need it. Just kind of press down on the tool on my stitch and chisel, and it'll make a mark, which I'll show you as soon as I got them all made here. There are 6 holes down each side. So I just made an indentation. So all I need to do now is finish them. Drop those tines right in there. And make my holes. Use a piece of t-shirt. And there's the first coat. I'll probably do 2 more coats. That should look okay. I think we'll be in good shape. So I'll put a little more on it. I'm trying to give it a little bit of a mottled effect as well, just so it kind of matches with the holster here, kind of a little mottled. So we're going to try to get that happening. Hopefully it works out okay. Somehow this one got way too dark. Don't know. We'll figure it out though. So I'm going to try a few things here. I've got 4 more cut out. I'm going to skive these a little bit. When I look at this was skived a little in the back here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Skive down nice. Get this out of here. These are just, I think they're Schick injector blades. A lot cheaper than buying blades for the safety skiver from Tandy, which is where I got this skiver. I like the skiver. These blades work just fine. They're a lot cheaper. There'll be an affiliate link for all the tools that I use in this video down below. Pick this up on Amazon. Affiliate link will be down below. This is, I don't know, looks identical to the one Tandy sells at about half the price. So, that's all I'm using. And it's pretty quiet. all sanded. Take a beveler to it, clean up the edges. Light brown, dark brown, and walnut. So I'm going to go over first. I'm going to do the first one just with walnut. Got some pretty good coverage on it. Get all the edges. Flip it over and get the back. Get off the camera here. Let's get back in frame. Now once that dries, it should dry lighter. Next one, always remember to shake up your dye because some of the dye stuff settles down in the bottom. A little more in there than I needed. Just going to go over with some light brown. And go around the edges. And I don't think that this light brown is going to be dark enough. I'm actually quite certain it's not going to be. But we're trying it anyway. Because we may get surprised. If we just apply a little more, it'll get a little darker. And I already know that the dark brown is going to come out like this after it's got a finish coat on it, and that's too dark. So I think what I want to do is just get some of it find a leather scrap here. I just want to kind of dab some of this off. I don't want a lot on here. I'm just going to kind of lightly I don't want it to be covered completely, so I'm just kind of giving it a little bit. The edges I do kind of want dark. We'll see where that goes out to. I think I'm going to do the same on this other piece. I do want to get the back of this too. on the flesh side of the leather, it tends to really lighten up a lot. So we'll go around. This one, I'm going to be a little more picky about where I put this extra color, because I just, you know, some of the places that are going to be see more wear are going to be a little darker, where you get your hand oils and stuff in there, like probably right down here at the tip is probably going to see a little more. From going through the leather or through the buckle, you're going to see a little more right across these areas right behind the holes. And probably some right down the center here is going to get a little more. And I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. So while that's drying, you can see how this one is already starting to lighten up because of how it's drying. How it's lightening up here. And while it's going to match the lighter spots on the holster okay, it's not going to match the darker spots. This one that's done in a walnut is actually starting to look pretty good. I might have the right color here, and I'll just have to darken up a couple of spots, probably with the dark brown. It's actually starting to look pretty close in here. And once I get the finish on it, it'll darken it a little bit more. So I think we're on the right track with that one. Now this one I'm going to apply some light brown on, and this one I'm going to put a little more of that walnut on. I'm not going to go real heavy with it, just a bit. This one with the light brown. I'm kind of rubbing that light brown in, hoping to spread out some of that dark brown. And about all I can do at this point with the four of them. So we got the walnut and the light brown. This one is the light brown with the dark brown highlights. This is walnut with the dark brown highlights. Get those in there a little better. Okay. So this is the dark brown highlights with the walnut. This is the dark brown highlights with the light brown. This is the light brown, and this is the walnut. And I think that this walnut is going to be the ticket here. And I may be able to darken up a few spots just with the walnut dye. And I think that's going to be the ticket. Just looking at it for right now. It's going to have to sit overnight and dry, but that's okay. And we'll see where it ends up with in the morning. Alright, here are my 4 straps that I made to go on this Luger holster. So let's pull the holster back in the frame and kind of lay them on here. Let's see what's going to look the best. I think that one is clearly too light, so that one's not going to work. I won't throw these away. I'll hang on to them, put them in a box, set them aside. That one looks pretty close. I think we're really close. I can't mimic the cracking in the finish. There's some cracking in the finish here. I can't mimic that, but I think we're pretty close with that. We'll kind of keep that one close. This one is where I tried to add a little patina to this one. That one's just off a bit, so that's not going to get it either. That one, I like that. It's similar to this, but I added a little more patina to this one. I think we're pretty good there. I kind of like that one. Kind of darker down on the tip here, like you'd be pulling it through with your finger. Kind of left some oils back behind there. Got some marks here that would have been left from the roller on the buckle here. I think that's the way to go. I think that's both of those are pretty good, I think. Alright, before I stitch this onto the holster, I kind of worked it a little bit and I guess gave it a little aged look. I don't know, trying to kind of fake it a little bit anyway. The finish didn't crack like the rest of it. You know, you can kind of see that some of the finish is cracked there. I mean, it looks well used. Not abused by any means, but it looks well used. It's in really good shape. I mean, the cracking is minimal. It looks a lot worse than what it is. It's not into the leather. It looks like it's just the finish. So, you know, if my customer will just give it a good oh man, I can't talk today. Let's try this again. Alrighty, I took and kind of worked the strap a little bit, you know, kind of did a little manipulation with it, so it kind of looks like it's been used a little bit. The holster itself has some cracking in whatever finish they put on there. I'm not sure what they use. It looks like it's almost like a Resolene. And there's, I can't make out the letters, but somebody got their name in there. Kind of cool. Kind of cool when you see stuff like that. Just because you can, it's part of the history of the holster. But the cracking that you see in there is just, it's like it's just in the finish. And I'm not going to do any treatment on this. So all my holes are punched in my strap. I'm just going to get it put on here. It's a little bit lighter. I have these other ones that I also made, and maybe this one's a little closer. I don't know. I don't know which way to go. Because now that I'm looking at it, now it's been a couple of days, I'm working on another project for another customer. This one's far too dark. This was the chocolate. It's far too dark. Maybe this one's the way to go. Maybe that's the way to go right there. think it is. Now that I'm looking at it again, I mean, this one came out nice. Then maybe we got to go a little bit darker. It's really hard to match a color because use and such will darken the leather too. And maybe this is the color, the one that we want to go with. I don't know. It can be really, some of these decisions are really tough. Oh, and these two are not the same thickness of leather. Interesting. That would mean I'd have to make another strap. Unless I have another one laying around somewhere. Because these must be a 4 to 5. And this is like a 6 to 7. Because this is more the thickness of what's here, the existing leather. Ah. Aha. There we go. Yeah, that's quite much too dark. Zoom in a little. You can kind of look a little bit or see a little better with me here. So these are the two straps. I need something in between. So let's see what we can do. I'll have to, I really would prefer not to make another one. I wonder if I can get this darker. Let's see if we can get that a little darker. I'll be back in a minute and I'll let you know how I figure out how to do that. So I tried just a really light brushing of dark brown. It looks like it's going to be too dark, but we'll see. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and wax my thread up. I just usually have to pull it through there a couple of times. Be enough of that for now. Alrighty, well, everything is dry and I'm thinking the colors, let's see if we can get you in a little closer. The color is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's get her stitched on. I have my needles. Remember, this is the strap that we started with. So we're already stepping in the right direction. Here I have my needles all ready to go. I'm going to start down at the bottom. Actually, I'm going to start at the top. It looks like this is where they tied off, was down at the bottom here. And remember, these just get like a square knot in them because that's what they used back in the day. Linen thread, you can't tie it and melt it off. You have to tie it and you kind of leave a little tail on it, and that's the way it is. And it looks like there's an impression there from where the knot would have been. kind of part of the deal is you got to be a little bit of an investigator too. So that's where we're gonna go. I'll be right back in just a second. All right, at the top, what they did with these is they started in the top hole of the loop, then went over the top into the holster, and then went down. Kind of like I've done on many other projects, because it's kind of a binding stitch. It was a little tough for the first couple holes. The linen thread is fairly thick. And it had to be back in the day because it needed the strength. Today's threads are much stronger. So we don't want to pull them too tight. Mostly because we risk breaking this linen thread. So I don't know how well you'll see that, but right at the top there we just kind of overlap it. And the next one just goes in the next hole. Until we get to the bottom, and then we'll do the same at the bottom. So I should be able to get this done quick. So we're at the bottom hole here. We're just going to go over this way. Normally, when these were made, they only backstitched that one stitch across here when they came back across and tied the knot, which is okay. I tend to go one more just for a little peace of mind. You really wouldn't know the difference to my way of thinking unless I told you. Like I just did. So now it's just your regular old square knot. So I'm going to go left thread over right, come through just like a regular old granny knot. And the next one I'm going to go right over left. And pull it down tight. So it leaves us a nice little square knot down there. We can take our scissors, clip it off. Remember when I was polishing all these hammers and making them work nice? Every hammer has its purpose. This one works pretty good for making these knots lay down real nice. So the inside will look like that when it's done, and the outside will look like that. I'll just have to buff everything off, and that'll lighten up that thread just a little bit more too. And then we'll be done. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Alright folks, there you go. There's our strap attached. It works. Stick it in there. Every one of these I've seen has had 3 holes, so I put 3 in there. I've got several patterns for these from different years, and every one of them is the same. Except for the holes on the top. Some of them are different, but I usually line those up with the holes on the holster anyway. But it came out pretty good. I think the color is a pretty close match. It's the closest one of all the straps that I did. I think I did 7 or 8 of them. I don't remember. They're all up in the top of my toolbox, and they're just going to get stuck in a box. I've got a box of parts that didn't match other holsters, but they may match another one that comes along. I didn't have one that matched this. So there you go. That is another one in the books. The thread came out pretty good after I buffed it off. And after the customer puts his finish on it, you know, whatever he does to treat the holster will need to be done. And that's it. I'll leave a link down below to my Amazon store. There will be an affiliate link, so it helps the channel out if you buy something through those. That is a wrap for the Luger holster. Happens to be a 1936. I think I've done a couple of those. Y'all stay safe. God bless. And I'll catch you in the next video.